You know that moment when you sit down to finally focus, you open the one tab you need, and then somehow, without even remembering the exact path, you are 5 tabs deep into something else. Your fingers move faster than your awareness. Email, chat, news, social, analytics, back to email, maybe your task manager, then back to the original tab for a second before another notification drags you away. Your eyes are open, your brain feels busy, but if someone asked you what you actually did in the last 20 minutes, you would struggle to answer. There is this weird aftertaste, like mental static mixed with guilt. You did not exactly rest, but you also did not really move anything important forward. And then the quiet, tired thought slides in. Why can I not just stay on one thing like a normal person? You might even label yourself as easily distracted, lazy, or having a broken attention span. But what if the real problem is not that your brain is too weak to focus, but that you are asking it to stand still in the middle of a mental casino with lights and bells and open loops everywhere? What if you have never actually given your mind the chance to experience how different it feels when there is literally only one door it can walk through at a time? In this conversation, I want to give you a simple, almost stupidly small pattern that can change that. A one-tab focus rule built on a mental model I call the single track. If you stay with me, you will understand why your current tab hopping is not a moral failure, but a predictable brain response, and how to use one clear rule to finally feel what real grounded focus actually feels like in your body. Let us start where this really hurts. Think back to the last time you had something that truly mattered to you. A project, a report, a creative piece, studying for an exam, or even planning something important in your personal life. You probably did not procrastinate in the old school way, lying on the couch doing nothing. Instead, you sat at your desk or opened your laptop and surrounded yourself with tab activity that looked like productivity. Researching, checking messages, quickly answering people so you would not be rude, skimming one more article. Every few minutes, your brain would send out a little signal. This is uncomfortable. We are not sure what to do next. Maybe there is something easier or more urgent in that other tab. And because all of those doors were open, your attention slipped through them. Each switch gave you a micro hit of relief and novelty, a tiny dopamine bump. But here is the catch your nervous system does not tell you. Every time you switch, your brain needs real time to load the context of the new tab, and then more time to reload the context of the old one when you come back. That is called switching cost. You feel it as that moment when your eyes are on the screen but your mind is blank, trying to remember what this page was about and what you were supposed to do. Multiply that by dozens or hundreds of switches a day, and you start to see the hidden tax you are paying. The tax is not just on your time, it is on your identity. After enough of these scattered sessions, you stop seeing yourself as someone who can sit down and move something from point A to point B. You start seeing yourself as the person who is constantly busy but strangely unfinished. There is a subtle erosion of self-respect. You close your laptop at night not with the deep exhale of someone who did what they meant to do, but with this low-level resentment toward yourself and the world. You might even say in your head, I do not understand how other people get so much done. Maybe I'm just not built for deep work. That belief digs in. And when you believe you cannot focus, you are more likely to seek relief through even more tab hopping. Because what is the point of trying to do one thing well if you are convinced you will fail anyway? It becomes a loop. Distraction creates self-doubt. Self-doubt makes distraction more attractive. There is another hidden layer. Constant tab hopping keeps your nervous system in a slightly elevated, restless state. Your eyes keep scanning, your fingers keep moving, your mind keeps jumping. That prevents the deeper, slower brain rhythms that support insight, memory consolidation, and real creativity from ever stabilizing. You are always in a kind of mental jog, never sitting still long enough to notice the subtle but important signals from your own thinking. That is why you might feel less and less connected to your own ideas and more dependent on external input. It is not that you do not have ideas. You simply never stay with them on one screen long enough for them to fully form. If any of this sounds familiar, I want you to hear this clearly. There is nothing uniquely broken in you. Your mind is doing exactly what minds do in an environment with too many open loops and too few boundaries. The problem is not your organ, it is the way the stage is set. And that is something you can change with one simple rule. Here is the mental model, the single track. Imagine your attention as a train. It runs best on one clear track from one station to the next. But right now, your work environment looks less like a clean track and more like a chaotic rail yard, with dozens of tracks crisscrossing, switches flipping constantly. The train lurching a few meters down one line before being suddenly shunted to another. The single track model has three parts: the track, the sidetrack, and the station. The track is the one tab that is allowed to be open and visible while you are working on a specific task. The sidetrack is where every other urge to check, research, or remember something gets parked temporarily in a simple list instead of becoming an open tab. The station is a short, deliberately chosen time window when you can leave the main track and process some of the items you parked without guilt. The one-tab focus rule lives inside this model. When you are on the track, only one relevant tab is open and on screen. Not 10, not 5, not 3. 1. Let me walk you through each part so it stops being a nice metaphor and starts being something you can use today. First, the track. Imagine you sit down and decide, for the next slice of time, I am writing this section, I am solving this set of problems, I am reading this chapter, I am editing this video timeline. The track is the tab that holds that work. Your one-tab focus rule here is brutally simple. While you are on this track, every other tab related to other tasks is closed or minimized and not visible. You can still have your browser or app open, but visually your brain only sees one thing. This sounds almost insultingly basic and your mind might push back immediately. But I need my reference tabs, but I need my inbox open for urgent things, but I might forget something important if I close it. We will handle that in the sidetrack and station. For now, notice what happens in your body when you imagine having only one tab on the screen. For many people, there is a mix of relief and panic. Relief because it is quieter. Panic because that quiet means you are more face-to-face with the discomfort of the actual task. That discomfort is probably what your brain has been using tab hopping to escape. So when you commit to the track, you are not just simplifying your screen, you are agreeing to feel a bit of that discomfort without immediately running from it. That is courage. And courage is easier when you know you are not trapping yourself there forever, which is why the track always exists inside a time container, even if it is just 15 or 20 minutes. You tell yourself, for these next minutes, my train only runs on this track. If an urge to switch comes up, I will not follow it, I will park it. That is the sidetrack. The sidetrack is a tiny but crucial piece. This is where all your impulses to open new tabs go to rest instead of hijacking your focus. Your brain will not stop producing those impulses just because you made a rule. You will still think, I should check that message, I need to look up that detail, I must not forget to send that file, I wonder what is happening in the group chat. If you try to simply suppress these impulses, they tend to get louder, like a child you keep shushing. The sidetrack gives them a safe, contained place to land. Practically, it is a simple text note, a piece of paper next to you, or a one-line memo app window that stays in the background. Every time an urge to check or open something appears, you do one thing. You write it down on the sidetrack list. For example, check email from Alex about contract, look up statistics for section 3, see new comments in chat, order more coffee. Then you remind yourself, it is parked, I will see it at the station. And you stay on the track. This does two powerful things. First, it calms the part of your mind that is terrified of forgetting. You are not ignoring tasks, you are capturing them. Second, it turns scattered urges into a cue you can approach strategically later, instead of letting them control your direction in real time. Your one-tab focus rule and your sidetrack work together. The rule keeps your screen clean. The list keeps your brain feeling safe. Finally, the station. This is the part most people never consciously design, which is why their one-tab experiments fail. If you try to stay on the track forever, your brain will rebel. It needs little releases, checks, and shifts. The station is the short, predefined window where you let your train pull in, open a few doors, and handle some of the parked items from the sidetrack. For example, after 20 or 25 minutes on the track, you give yourself a 5-minute station stop. During that stop, you are allowed to open your inbox, check a chat, Google something, or handle quick tasks, but only in service of the items you wrote down earlier. You do not add 10 new distractions. You are cashing out some of the IOUs your mind wrote. When the station time is over, you close those tabs again, look at your track tab, and start another focused block. The important part is this: you are not jumping randomly anymore. You are switching in a rhythm that you chose. Your nervous system learns, there is a place where we can check things. We do not need to panic and leave the track every time an impulse appears. That lowers anxiety and makes it easier to stay with discomfort when you are on the track. When you put all three parts together, the one-tab focus rule stops being an abstract rule and becomes a lived process. Track, sidetrack, station. Let us bring this down into a concrete moment so you can see it. Imagine you are writing a report. You open the document. This is your track. You close other unrelated work tabs or at least minimize them so they are not visible. A few minutes in, you think, I should check the exact numbers from that email. Instead of jumping to your inbox, you jot down on your side track, get numbers from finance email. You stay on the track, maybe writing the sentence with a placeholder for the number. Then you think, did anyone respond in the team chat? I do not want to leave them hanging. Again, sidetrack. Check team chat for responses. You stay on the track, finishing the paragraph. After your chosen focus block time, you slide into the station. You look at your sidetrack list and pick 2 or 3 items that can be done quickly. You open your inbox, grab the number, plug it into the document. You check the chat, respond, maybe add a new item to the sidetrack if it spawns a task. Then you close those tabs again and go back to your track tab for the next block. From the outside, this looks like a small change. From the inside, you have done something profound. You have taken back the switch from your impulses and handed it to your conscious choice. Now, how does this actually feel in your body when you start using it? At first, honestly, it might feel strange and a little uncomfortable. You will notice how often your hand wants to jump to another tab, how restless your eyes feel when there is only one window to look at. That is not a sign that the rule is wrong. It is a direct measurement of how much your nervous system has been trained to expect constant novelty. The good news is that restlessness is trainable. Just like you can build tolerance for physical exercise, you can build tolerance for mental stillness on one screen. One way to make this easier is to pair the one-tab focus rule with a tiny breathing micro-habit. Each time you feel the urge to switch, and you choose instead to jot it on the sidetrack, you take one slow, slightly longer exhale. Not a whole breathing exercise, just one deliberate exhale. You are teaching your brain, we notice the urge, we park it, we stay, and we calm down a little. Over a week of doing this, you will likely notice something surprising. The first few minutes of each track block start to feel more stable. Your mind drops in faster. The background anxiety that usually pushes you to check everything starts to turn down. There is another side effect that is easy to miss but important. When you obey the one-tab focus rule, your work acquires a clearer before and after. You can feel the moment you commit to a track, and you can feel the moment you leave it. That sense of boundary is what lets your brain mark a task as actually progressed or done, rather than living as a vague blur. At the end of the day, you can look back and remember, I did 3 focused blocks on that report, 2 blocks on that study chapter, 1 block on planning. Even if each block was not perfect, your brain now has a coherent story. We showed up, we drove the train down the track, we arrived somewhere. That narrative is what rebuilds self-trust. You start to think of yourself not as someone who is constantly pulled around by tabs, but as someone who can set a track and ride it. You might even start to crave that feeling, because it is so different from the jittery emptiness of tab hopping. You might be thinking now, this sounds great for quiet days, but my reality is messy. People message me, work is reactive, emergencies happen. I cannot live in a monastery of one tab. That is fair. The point is not to create some fragile ideal environment that collapses as soon as life gets loud. The point is to tilt the balance. Even if you can only protect 1 or 2 blocks of one-tab focus in a day, that is already a massive upgrade over 0. And the single-track model is not all or nothing. Some periods of your day will still be open rail yards where you jump around, and that is okay. But there can also be sacred stretches, even 15 or 20 minutes long, where you tell people, and more importantly yourself, right now, I am on a track. If someone messages you during that time and it is genuinely urgent, of course you can respond. The one-tab focus rule is not a prison, it is a default. In the absence of real emergency, I choose one tab. What counts as an emergency becomes clearer when you have stations scheduled, because your brain knows there will be check-in points, not an endless desert of deprivation. Let us circle back to where we started. You, sitting in front of a glowing rectangle, hands moving faster than your awareness, brain ricocheting between tabs. In the old pattern, that moment ends with you feeling scattered, unsatisfied, quietly annoyed at yourself. In the upgraded pattern, here is what happens instead. You sit down. You choose your track and bring that single tab to the front. You close or hide the others. You glance at a simple sidetrack list sitting next to you, ready to catch any new urges. You set a modest window in your mind, or with a timer, maybe 15 or 20 minutes. Then you begin. A few minutes in, the urge to check something surfaces. You feel your hand twitch. You notice it instead of following it. You jot a few words on the sidetrack, take a slightly longer exhale, and stay. The train remains on the track. When your time is up, you pull into the station, open a couple of tabs on purpose, handle them, and close them. One or two of these blocks might not feel magical, but stack enough of them and you will feel the difference in your chest when you close your laptop. Less buzzing, more grounded satisfaction. Less, what did I even do today? More, I actually moved things. Before you let this just be a nice idea, I want you to choose one tiny experiment. Not a whole lifestyle change, just one test. Pick one task you need to work on today that would benefit from real focus. It could be 30 minutes of studying, writing a section of a document, planning your week, editing a piece of content, or even deeply reading something important. Your job is to run one single track block on it. That means choose the tab that represents that task and make it your track. Close or hide other work tabs. Keep a sidetrack list on paper or in a note. When distraction urges appear, park them on the list instead of opening new tabs. Give yourself one small station stop at the end to handle one or two items from the list. That is all. One block, one train run. After that, notice how you feel. Not in theory, but in your body and in your sense of self. If you feel even a small shift toward calm focus and self-respect, you will know this is not just a trick. It is a new way of relating to your own attention. If this changed something in how you see your tab hopping, send this idea to someone else who is drowning in open windows and quietly thinking they are the problem. Sometimes the kindest thing we can offer is not another productivity slogan, but a simple track to run on. And if you want more of these invisible upgrades for your mind and habits, you are always welcome to come back here. For now, your only mission is simple. Today, run one block on a single track with the one-tab focus rule, and let your brain feel what it is like to have just one door to walk through at a time.